Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is your instructor Joy. Let me first play a tune for you. This was beginning of Paganini Caprice number 9. Lately, I've been getting a lot of requests about double stops, triple stops, quadruple stops, and so on. So I decided to play this one a little, showing one of those pieces that has a lot of double stops. I'll try to make another video about chords, which are triple stops and quadruple stops, because there's a little more to be said about that one. Today, we're going to talk about just general double stop rules and how one could practice. So when it comes to double stops, common mistakes that I see in my teaching studio and also with myself is that we tend to overpress with our left hand and creating unnecessary tension. We feel like that we have to, because we're playing multiple notes, we feel like we have to give more by pressing more. In fact, it's actually the other way around. Because we're dealing so many things, we have to let our left finger to be really light, with a light fingertip with a minimum of movement. I know it's easier said than done, but certainly that's something that keep in mind. And also, if you're new to this double stop technique, it is normal for us to be a little not being able to relax our left hand. Just make sure that you give enough breaks in between to give a little pause for your left hand, so that you don't get injured. A lot of us get injured, and I was injured myself too by not just listening to our body. Just be very cautious. Whenever you feel a little pain or a little discomfort, do listen to that. It's worth it. So there are two things, there are more things, but two things that one has to pay attention, or it's difficult for us to do. First, we can't tell whether we're in tune or not, or we can tell we're not in tune, but not quite sure which one is exactly out of tune and what to correct. Second, there's how to get rid of tension of the left hand. How do I know what is a minimum finger pressure or minimum of the weight of the fingertip? How do I know? And all those. So I'm going to talk about those two. First, it is normal for us not to be able to tell which one is in tune, which one is not out of tune, because we're playing multiple notes and then constantly changing. It's normal. So don't feel too bad about it. The best way of practicing is just simply breaking it down to a simpler form that we know, which is the single notes, so one note at a time. In this case, the melody is upper line. So it's a good idea always start playing the melody first, whether it's upper note or lower note, whatever it is, and then you play one after the other and then put it together, something like this. Then together. So that way we get a chance to listen. Now remember, when we're playing double stops or triple stops or any chords, it is a bit different than just different types of melody. So we have two notes, right? In this case, upper note is melody, and then the below one is the harmony. Now, the upper one, make sure you're in tune, but the bottom note, in this case, the harmony, we are moving constantly to make sure it's in tune with the upper one. So we call this one just intonation, meaning sometimes it gets slightly higher, often, but not always, slightly higher. Sometimes it gets a little lower. So that can be a little hard for the first time double stop player. So you might need a little help with the professional ears. Some people ask whether they could use tuners. Tuner is better than completely off. But even if your tuner set it's not equal temperament, but it's just intonation, it is almost impossible for the machine to have set in all different variation of each just intonation, because just intonation, even though we're talking about the same note, it changes all the time depending what note you're playing with. So the best way is having a professional or professionally trained ears help you and guide you, or another way is just see if you can tell by just playing one after the other. starting with a melody note first, in this case upper line, then together, then next one, on and on like that. So after that, then you would put both fingers, I mean both notes on the left hand, but you play only one voice at a time, either upper line or bottom line. So you place both fingers the way it's written. So in this case 2 and 4, all of that. But you play only the upper line. So that you get to hear the line, the exact intonation. Same thing goes if you're done enough times that you feel secure, then you do the bottom one. Again, always place all notes with the left hand. We are bowing only one voice at a time. In this case, lower one. Sorry. Like that. And then once you feel confident, then you move on to the next one. That we're gonna play both notes at the same time, so with the left and right hand. But do not jump right away as printed, as the same rhythm as it's written. But I find it doubling each note and slurring second time to the next helps us to listen better, or gives us chance to correct, and also help us to connect from one double stop to the next with the left hand. So something like this. And play again and slur to the next. Play again and then slur to the next. So it would be like that, yeah? If you're in that stage, then you can gradually bring up to the performance tempo and the notes. Another one that's great for the second problem we have, the getting rid of tension, is using Dounis shifting method. Remember, I'm a great fan of Dounis Method because it's such a brilliant way of solving many problems. However, he has a chapter of finger independence. I think that's what he meant for double stops. But I find it for double stop practicing actually works better with his shifting method instead of his finger independent chapter. So I made several videos about that. I'll try to put at least one in the description below. Basically, the idea is, Dounis' idea is, if you want to move from point A to point B, by moving it fast, we're teaching a left hand to move most efficiently with a minimum of work, right? So you can do the same thing. So now here, we're shifting from third position to the second position. Sorry. So by repeating many times, fast back and forth, we're getting rid of unnecessary tension, and then the left hand find its way with most efficient way of working with a minimum of fingertip weight and minimum of work. Something like this. Again. You could do a couple more times if you like. Or next one is, then you do, or you go reverse. Sorry. And as you notice, the left hand works beautifully. It doesn't have unnecessary movement in between, because in order to move fast, your left hand should behave most efficiently in a very nice and relaxed way. So this kind of fixes on its own. Whatever you practice, one thing is for sure, one has to be really, really patient. This is one of the hardest technique for all of us. I mean, so just listen to your body and be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, I know there are some geniuses and who can do it at once, but most of us, including myself, we have to work for it day in, day out. So just give yourself a little time, and it may not happen right away, but persistence is a key. Just keep doing little by little, and then a couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of months after that, then you will soon see your left hand has built its strength and it knows how to behave in the most efficient way. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.